A quick warning before we begin, this video contains spoilers for Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. When you hear the word Frankenstein, for many, it's an image of a green-skinned monster with bolts in his neck, a figure made for Halloween decorations and scary movies. But Mary Shelley's novel is nothing like that stereotype. It's not just a gothic horror tale, it's a profound reflection on human psychology, ambition, rejection, and the consequences of being cut off from others. The story begins with Victor Frankenstein, a young scientist with a burning desire to push the limits of knowledge. His ambition leads him to a secret experiment. He creates life. But when the creature opens his eyes for the first time, Victor steps away in shock. Instead of embracing his creation, he abandons it. This moment sets the stage for everything that follows. So, think about the creature for a moment. He enters the world with no guidance, no love, no protection. In a way, he's like a newborn child, but instead of being cared for, he's rejected. He learns about the world by observing people from a distance, watching families, listening to conversations, teaching himself language. And what he longs for most is simple: connection. This is where the novel feels timeless. Psychologists have shown us again and again that humans are social beings. We need bonds, affection, and recognition. Without them, we suffer deeply. The creature is a mirror of that truth. He tries to belong, he tries to show kindness, but the reaction he receives is always fear, hostility, or rejection. Think about how that could damage a person's self-worth. What makes the story so haunting isn't just the rejection, it's how it transforms him. In the beginning, he is innocent, curious, almost hopeful. But constant exclusion leaves him bitter and desperate. It's not that he is born monstrous, society teaches him that he doesn't deserve acceptance. The novel forces us to ask an uncomfortable question: who really creates the monster? The scientist who abandoned him, or the people who refused to see his humanity? Now, let's turn back to Victor. On the surface, he looks very different from his creation. He's educated, respected, part of society. But in truth, he suffers from the same condition: isolation. His ambition drives him away from his loved ones. He buries himself in his work, cuts ties with friends, and loses the ability to enjoy the ordinary warmth of human life. In his obsession to achieve something extraordinary, he ends up more disconnected than ever. So we have two figures, creator and creation, both suffering from loneliness. One isolates himself by choice, the other is forced into solitude by rejection. Their parallel is striking. Shelley seems to suggest that isolation, whether self-imposed or socially enforced, has devastating consequences. From a sociological point of view, the story raises powerful questions. Who gets to be accepted in a community, and who gets pushed out? The creature is intelligent, capable of empathy, and yet people only see his physical appearance. Prejudice defines his fate before he even speaks. This dynamic feels just as relevant today as it did in Shelley's time. How often do we judge others by surface impressions, shutting them out before understanding who they really are? What I find fascinating is how the book blurs the line between victim and villain. Victor sees himself as the victim of his creation's actions, while the creature sees himself as the victim of his maker's abandonment. Both are right, and both are wrong. Their conflict isn't just about good versus evil, it's about pain feeding into pain, rejection breeding resentment, and loneliness turning into tragedy. Mary Shelley was only 18 when she started writing Frankenstein, but her insights into human nature feel remarkably mature. She shows us that people don't become destructive out of nowhere. Often, it's the absence of love, the weight of exclusion, or the hunger for recognition that pushes them into dark places. The novel is less about a monster and more about the cost of neglect. And here's why the story still matters today. Loneliness is often described as one of the silent struggles of modern life. In a world full of technology and constant noise, many people still feel disconnected. Frankenstein reminds us that without genuine connection, without being seen and valued, people break down. Whether in the 19th century or the 21st, the need for belonging remains the same. So maybe we should stop thinking of Frankenstein as just a scary story. Instead, it's a warning, a reminder of what happens when ambition blinds us to responsibility, and when society refuses to accept those who are different. The monster is not a creature stitched together in a lab. The real monster is neglect, abandonment, and the loneliness that follows. When you pick up this book, don't just read it as science fiction or gothic drama. Read it as a story about all of us, the need to belong, the danger of isolation, and the consequences of rejecting those who simply want to be part of the world. That's what makes Frankenstein a classic. It speaks not only to the imagination but also to the deepest parts of human psychology. It's one of the few books that has truly stayed with me. I read it many years ago, and it still resonates in my mind, reminding me why some stories never fade.